Hey, what's going on, working man fam? Welcome back to the channel. I'm JP. Today I want to start a little bit of a series. First, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This is the day after Thanksgiving, so the 24th. And I actually got my ginger started about 2.5 weeks ago. So we're going to talk about today. I've got some other things that I want to knock out, but I want to get this kind of separated and ready to go right now. So I have had some failures with ginger in the past, and I think this is going to give me a much better success rate here. It wasn't really something that I planned, but I ended up using some ginger in a recipe a few weeks ago, and I had some extra. Went ahead and grabbed a couple of extra, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get them started. And then I started watching a couple of other videos because yes, I do still learn things on YouTube and all over the place, books and whatnot. But as I understand it, ginger isn't gonna start making more rhizomes for like 4 months after they sprout. So these sprouted a couple of weeks ago. But if I think, okay, end of November, December, January, February, March, that'll put me right around mid-March actually getting some rhizome growth. They're not a root, they're a rhizome. And I want to get these guys going so I can go in ground with plants that are really gonna just take off. So I've got some containers that I got from work. These are 4x4 by 3.5 deep. So let's get these guys filled up. I've got some Happy Frog from Fox Farm. I usually use Ocean Forest. And the only difference between the two that I can tell is that there's a little bit more phosphorus in the Ocean Forest, and this is supposed to have mycorrhiza and humic acid. Of course, the Ocean Forest has worm castings and bat guano, but you can buy those if you want them separately. So, and of course, you can buy mycorrhiza and the humus too. But this is what I'm going with today, and it should be absolutely amazing for these ginger plants. But let me get these filled up right quick. All right, now that right there is going to be really excellent for these sprouts. Okay, set that out of the way. Hope it doesn't spill. Now, let's go ahead and get these guys popped out of here. Careful with these. I don't want to disturb the roots a whole lot. This is why I'm actually doing this now rather than waiting any longer, because I don't want the roots to get too well established and then I start messing with them. Oh yeah, that's, wow, look, okay. All right, so actually that looks like it's already making some rhizomes, doesn't it? I don't know, this might be something that I need to follow up. This is why this is going to be a series, because, you know, anytime I do anything of any importance with these guys, I want to be able to show you, and you know, just as much myself, because look at how long those roots are. Those are good 5, you know, that's 8 inches of roots right there. You know, from my wrist to the tip of my finger. That's, yeah, okay. So we're gonna break these off very carefully. Oh, okay. Yeah, now it's forming so many more eyes right there. You can see them. They're ready to sprout. And so yeah, each one of these, I'm gonna put them back after I take these sprouts. Okay, So now we have 3 off that one, but like I said, we've got more that are ready to sprout. So you got one there, got a couple there. So yeah, this is gonna go back in this media, covered back up. Now let's move on to this next one, see what it looks like. We got 4 on this one, and I'm just trying to be as careful as possible here. All right. Again, great roots. That guy is, yeah, that's real. I'm happy with these. Absolutely ecstatic, as a matter of fact. These have just been, I soaked the rhizome for about 8 hours, and then moistened my media, put the rhizomes long ways flat like this, and now they just went in my my grow tent under 150 watt. Is that 150 watt? Yeah, it's my 150 watt HPS. No heat mat because it was still early in the season. It was still quite warm. I still had my air conditioner on in my bedroom, which is where my my grow tent is, and just left them. Don't water them after that. They will sprout and take off for you. And again, just like with the others, this guy is ready to sprout some more. It's still firm. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back. Now, if you do break your rhizome into pieces, which that, I think those were 2 separate rhizomes, if I remember correctly. But if you do end up breaking them, so you can, I don't really know why you would, but I know a lot of people do. I would dip that broken or cut end in maybe some wood ash or some powdered sulfur, some wettable sulfur, just to help that callus over. If you leave it, it's got a great potential to rot. As a matter of fact, in the past, I've had a lot of them rot. Usually after I've messed with them, like they'll start to try to sprout, and I go in and mess with them because I'm really curious like that. Don't do that. Just give them, 2 to 3 weeks, and eventually they will sprout. They just need to stay warm and be under some light, so when they do sprout, they can start growing. So yeah, I'm not positive that these will take off again. They should, but like I said, I just came in here and messed with them, so there is that potential for them to just kind of rot away. I will give these a little bit of a water and stick them back under my lights in my grow tent. But for now, we're just gonna get these others put into their new grow homes. Okay, so those guys are kind of stuck together. That is really pretty. I love that color. And that looks like it's already growing more rhizomes, so this actually happened quicker than what I was expecting. Like I said, it was only a couple of weeks. Okay. All right, there we go. All right. So you got to tease those guys apart, and each one of these can go into their own little. I probably shouldn't have filled these all the way up. Let me put some of this back for now. That way I can get those. I wasn't expecting those root systems to be so long. So now I've got about half that full. Just gonna plop this down in here. I'll let those roots settle in. Kind of want it to the center if I can, but it's not really. Those roots are quite long, like I said. So good thing I'm doing this now, and then I'll just go in and backfill I don't know why I have my shades on. I'm in the shade. All right. I've got to do that 6 more times. And I can give these guys a little bit of water, and then we'll talk about fertility. All right, so let me show you this one real quick. Because, I mean, look at that. That's the really long root. I'm just going to give that a little twist. Once I get it in, just twist it around a little bit. And those roots will settle in quite well. You see those? And now I can backfill. Those long roots, I'm wondering how much I'm stressing this plant out. All right. Okay. So as far as fertility here, like I said, these are rhizomes. And rhizomes are not a root. They have roots, but they're an energy store for the plant. So if you want big rhizomes, you have to give them lots of vegetation. That way they can grow lots of leaves and store more energy. More leaves, more energy, bigger plants, bigger energy, bigger fruits, bigger roots. That's just how that works. Now, I wouldn't suggest you give something like carrots a lot of nitrogen, because they are an actual root. But this is a rhizome, and it will definitely benefit from quite a bit of nitrogen. Now, I've got nitrogen in the house in a couple of different ways. I've got some fish emulsion, which I could use, but these are going inside, so I don't want to use that. I've got some composted hen manure, which would also be a good one. It's a 422. But that's a little bit smelly as well. So I'm going to go with blood meal. You could also use bat guano. That also has the potential to be a little funky. But you could use alfalfa meal, cottonseed meal, just whatever you have that is a little higher in nitrogen than the other two numbers. So you have your NPK. That N is the first number. As long as it's higher than the other two, it shouldn't be a problem. So I've got 7 ginger plants so far that are ready to rock and roll. Now, like I said, these others over here will get watered. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get these guys fertilized. I'll go grab my blood meal, and we'll take these up front so I can use a softer nozzle sprayer, because this one back here is pressurized, when that one is just a rain setting, and I gave my water breaker away. So all right, so now that we've got these guys potted up and the mosquitoes are chewing me all to death, we're gonna give these guys a little bit of blood meal. 1200, nothing but nitrogen, guys. So I'm gonna do this just very sparingly. They don't need a lot right now, but this will definitely give them more than enough to get them through this next part of the season. Let's go back in with that. As a matter of fact, I want to pull a little bit of this off, because once I sprinkle the nitrogen on, I want to be able to put a little bit more of this Happy Frog on top of the fertilizer. That way, one thing about this is it does go hydrophobic. It's very, very dry. And it just doesn't seem to want to get down into the root system very effectively. So I just want to get some of this out so I can add a little more on top of the fertilizer. But I'm really happy with this, guys. This is really gonna work out quite well. So I like that they actually started putting this in these bags, and I like this down to earth fertilizer. I can find it locally. Of course, you can find it on Amazon as well. But they carry it at the local feed store right here. It's 100% organic. I'm an organic gardener. Works great. Also, decent price. This is 22 bucks, but that's 5 pounds of blood meal. So really great price, and they always encourage you to compost their box. So, and now they've started giving me, well, where's the little tag? Now I can actually close that up more effectively, because it was just a sealed bag. I like this much better. So I'm just gonna go in with just a tiny little sprinkle of blood meal in each of these. It does not take a lot. They're still young plants. This won't burn them, but it will definitely feed the organisms in this media. I'm trying to get, so that little bitty tablespoon there fed all of these. That was more than enough for every single one of these. And like I said, I'm gonna go back in and add more of, top off with the Happy Frog. And then we'll water them in. Now, just top it off with media. Now you don't have to use Happy Frog. I understand this stuff's quite expensive, so whatever media you can get a hold of, if you make your own, that should work just fine as long as it's got some aeration. Make sure you use some perlite to keep some air around the rhizosphere. And there we go. So let's go get these guys watered in. All right, so I brought these up here because this particular dram sprayer has a rain setting, and it's a lot more similar to a water breaker. And I gave my dram water breaker to my buddy so he could actually water his garden right. But yeah, so set this to rain because I don't want to, too much disturb all that. I'm gonna water both of these. As a matter of fact, here, I want to. Y'all think I should add some blood meal to my starters? I think I will, just to see what happens. Not gonna give them a lot, just a sprinkle. I'm not gonna top that off. I don't think. Maybe I will. Yeah. Let's see if we can clear off just a little bit of that. I don't know if y'all can see this. And this was absolutely just a reused media. It was, I don't remember what I had sowed here. Actually, I do lettuces. I had lettuces in this tray. And then some didn't go right. I don't know what it was, but I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll use this for the ginger. And we'll go ahead and sprinkle in a little bit of the Happy Frog. Just a little bit. All right. Close this back up right quick. Give these guys just a sprinkle, just to settle it in. Really don't want to get that too waterlogged. Same over here. That Happy Frog's already sort of damp. That will work just fine. And this tray has slots in it, so it does drain out of the bottom. I actually get these at work too. They just throw them out, so I go ahead and keep them. That probably needs a little bit more. That Happy Frog seems, I mean, it's damp, but it's still a little bit hydrophobic for some reason. I really would rather be watering these from the bottom, but maybe water my lettuces while I'm out here too. I need to get these guys in ground. Now, don't let that fool you. I got much better germination on those, but the mice decided they were hungry and yeah, kind of cleaned me out. And I've got a couple of trays that look just like this. I also direct sowed some, and direct sowing is much easier with lettuce, but we'll talk about that in a different video. All right, so that's what I've got to work with so far. Like I said, these should continue to sprout. Maybe not, I don't know. I've had them sprout before multiple times, but these past few times it seems like when I disturb the rhizome, for whatever reason, it just kind of wants to rot. But these, I don't believe I broke And even if I did by now, that should have calloused over. So um, maybe that'll be okay. But if not, I've still got 7 very healthy um, ginger plants that should do quite well. Now these are gonna go under my 2000 watt HPS, not HPS, I'm sorry, LED. These are gonna go back under my 150 watt HPS because it is much warmer in that grow tent, and these will do just fine under that LED. All right, so that is part 1 of growing your own ginger, and some of these will go in ground, some of them will go with, well, I don't know that I'll put any in actual in ground. um, I'll put a couple over with my strawberries in that raised bed. They will get not a tart, but a shade cloth, 50% reflective. After those strawberries fruit, these should just be fine right up until about June. And that's when the heat's going to kick in and the sun gets very intense. So maybe late May, I'll put the shade cloth over that bed. Some of these will go in containers. I do find that containers do grow root crops and most crops much better than in soil, in my garden anyway. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. If you can give this plant everything it needs in a container of loose soil or loose media, it's going to do much better. And you know, I do live on some pretty rocky soil. It's very, very hard, especially in the summer, and that can cause some serious issues. But um, yeah, I'll try these things all over the place, see what does better. But they will absolutely need some shade cloths, some protection, definitely some irrigation. You know, we got to understand that these are tropical plants, and anytime you have a tropical plant that is growing in the understory of, you know, larger trees under the canopy, they're not going to do well with this Texas sun. The sun is absolutely brutal, um, and we know that here in Texas. So, yep, these guys will get some protection, plenty of water, and that should be about it. I'll probably fertilize again with some more blood meal, or maybe I'll, you know, when I put them in ground, um, probably some of the hen manure. Um, and if I do have to do anything special with these guys, you know, if these sprout some more, I probably won't make a whole video if they sprout again. But if I end up having to pot these up further, which I'm starting to anticipate that I probably will, we'll talk about that in another video. Actually, I should have, you know, I've got some compost back there. I got half of mine to really just mix some compost in with those guys, with this Happy Frog. But too late now. But if these sprout, I'll actually do that. I'll take some of the compost, mix it in with the Happy Frog, and see how those do in comparison. I can almost imagine they'll catch these guys. But anyway, y'all take care. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.